Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Sexual confidence. You know what? Yeah, if y'all probably noticed the tone of my videos have been like slightly changing. That's because I'm going more old school now, right? Telling y'all the game the way I learned it in the streets, right? Because, well, quite frankly, it still works. What y'all think Pookie and Ray Ray doing, right? So anyway, sexual confidence. Now, of course, people, dating coaches, whoever, you throw in the word confidence and you get one half and say, oh, if you just have some confidence, and then the other half saying, nah, that's some bullshit, right? I'm going to say this, and this is my stand on it. You need sexual confidence, right? That's the only play. If you have it in just that one area, you get women. Now, overall confidence in life, that's important. But then you got a lot of people, a lot of men especially, they can make a lot of money. And they can do good in their professions. And because they like sexual confidence, you know, they either paying escorts or they tricking off. Or some of them, getting their asses whipped by a dominatrix. Right? Now, what is sexual confidence? Sexual confidence is really just confident in your interactions with a woman. That's it. You are confident in your interactions with a woman from meeting her to bedding her. That's it. You confident that you can do this, right? Now, that's where I think a problem comes in because people don't differentiate the two because you can a lot of times people think if you do well in your job, you know, you do well in your job, you got a nice profession, you can make some money or something, that translates to sexual confidence. It really don't. As I just said earlier, plenty of people out there do well in their jobs, but probably tongue-tied when it comes to a woman. And quite frankly, your job don't turn a woman on. Even a gold digger, you don't turn her on. This is just business for her. So you got that situation right there. Now, sexual confidence, how do you develop it? That's the main thing. I'm giving y'all a webinar, seminar thing in about 10 minutes, right? Only way you develop it is you got to get out there. There's no magic class you could take, no magic words you can say, no trick you could do, hypnosis. That's like one of those things you just got to get out there, right? Like when people ask me how to talk to women or what can they say, I start them at the base. I say it every day. You got to talk to 3 women or say hi at least and then move it beyond that. Right. Now, I remember I told one cat that and I actually told him about 50 women. Right. And he did. He's like, OK, now what? I was like, well, you didn't get the lesson, did you? The whole point was to get comfortable talking to women because that's the first interaction. Right. That's the first thing. You got to be able to talk to women. And then you got to be able to talk to women in a way that is sexually enticing. Now, what I mean, I don't necessarily mean going up and telling you want to fuck her, especially in this environment. You don't necessarily have to do that. Now, if you can read her well, get a good vibe from her, and she choosing extremely hard, maybe. But that's some more advanced stuff, right? Basically, when I say in a sexual manner, see, you got to put her in a feel-good mood. Right. So, you know, I tell dudes, like I told one dude, right. And he had actually told me, I think I mentioned this before, and he said I could share it. He said, you know, he was meeting women, but he was turning them off. But then he was always talking to them about some serious stuff. And I said, well, whenever you talk to a woman you just meet, keep the conversation fun. Right. And I got a rant. Well, yeah, I got a rant coming about that. That's on the subject because I wasn't sure when I was going to publish this video, right? But you just keep it fun. See, when women thinking sex, you know, they ain't thinking about like the political situation. That don't turn them on. Or, you know, how much money you made on the stock market. That don't turn them on. But if you dealing with a woman, you flirting with her, tell her she got nice eyes or something, or, you know, she really fixed her hair. Or shoot, if she just a nice person, shoot, that puts them in a different space. So you starting off in how you interacting with her. And the only way to get used to doing that, you got to get out there and do it. You got to get out there and do it. And see, the issue is a lot of guys get rejected out there. I'm going to tell you what. Very few people listening have been rejected more than Rom. Very few people. Even now, there's sometimes I might see somebody nice looking and say, how you doing? And she just ignore me. And I'm like, okay. Dude, I'm going to tell y'all something now. And that's the thing. Too many dudes got a problem with rejection. You know, too many people, they don't want to be rejected, so they don't jump out there in the game. I'm going to tell you something now. I'm going to use a sports analogy. I'm going to use basketball. Most people done played basketball at some level, even if it was just in the back, you know, at a cookout or something. Everybody done shot a basketball at some time. You know, even I've seen autistic kids shooting a basketball, right? You don't hit every shot. Even the best players in history don't hit every shot. You know, it was said Michael Jordan missed about 20 to 30 like game-winning shots, right? LeBron has missed game-winning shots. You know, Kobe has missed. I don't care who the player is you've missed. I don't care what level. You're going to get rejected. They got blocked and everything. What they do, they keep going. You know, everybody, if you play sports, anything, you're going to lose games, right? If you extend that to other areas like life, like if you're a salesman, in many professions, if you close 50% of your sales, you're actually a master salesman. But that means you've been rejected 50% of the time, right? The only way you're going to deal with the rejection, honestly, is to get a thick skin. And the only way to get a thick skin, you just got to get out there, right? But see, you're not just going out there and just being rejected, right? You're not going out there and just being rejected. You're learning from each rejection. And I talked about this in Nice Guys and Players. Like, I gave y'all the game in a very, like, short, simple book. Because it's not complicated. People put all this complicated shit in there, and it's not. It's like, look, you just get out there and you start with high. In fact, rejection is actually good for a dude. In fact, there's one thing I told, I wrote this in one of my books. I think it was Meeting Attractive Women. I said, look, this is what you do, right? For a week, you prepare to be rejected, right? And then you go to a club. Go find the finest woman in there who looks like she might reject you, and then walk up and just ask her to dance or whatever you're going to do with her. If you get rejected, think about how you felt. It's like you still alive. You prepared yourself for it. It ain't that bad. You know, it's just like if you're a boxer, right? You know, like I was watching the trailer for Creed 2. And there was a scene Rocky was hitting Creed with a ball like in his stomach. That's to build up his resistance. It's the same thing with rejection and stuff. You got to get out there and build up the resistance. You got to build up the thick skin. If you're going to play the game, you know, you can't get knocked down a couple times and be like, oh, I ain't going to play, and then complain about women and shit. Shit, you want the pussy? Shit. You want the pussy, you got to hold the tail. You got to get out there. You got to put in the work. You got to toughen yourself, right? But see, here's the thing. If you get out there, toughen yourself, learn from the rejections, all of a sudden you learn, oh, okay, if I can approach a woman this way, I learned something. You also learn how to approach, which women to approach. Like one of the things I do with my private folks, they know I did a webinar for them. Like if you want private stuff, my real good stuff, I keep that for people who going to support me in my private site, and that's not my Patreon. You know, I told them I gave them some how to read women. Because if you learn, because after a while, you learn which women to read. Like, I'll use an example, panhandlers. A really good panhandler already know who's going to give them money and who's not. They can look at the person. And that's part of the game right there anyway, is reading women. Like, nobody's talking about how to read women. That's why I keep that to myself. That's why I keep it to myself, because I'm tired of people stealing my shit. So, you know, anyway, right? If you can figure that out, you know, you figure out, but at the very least, and I'll say this about reading women, you're going to figure out who's receptive to you. Right? And the only way you're going to do is get out there. Because then if you approaching several women, and I know some people out there say approach. Only problem with that is they not adjusting each time. They just doing the same thing, and it becomes a numbers game. And if you want to play that, fine, but you need every single time you get rejected, you need to figure that shit out. And then you got to figure out, all right, as you progress, you get the ones you date. You got to figure out, okay, this date went well. This other date didn't go well. What did I do during this date that went well? What happened during this date that failed, right? Then you got to figure out, all right, if you get to be to the boyfriend-girlfriend stage, all right, why this one want to be my girlfriend? Why this one didn't? Or why this one just wanted sex? Why this one didn't, right? That's how you develop the confidence, the sexual confidence. You start knowing, all right. It's just like in basketball. You figure out where your spot is on the court that you can always pop that jumper. You always figure out your move. That's what you're doing. And then when you in the bedroom, you figure out, all right, what moves you got to like make them scream? What moves you got? What you doing that makes them? Like, I know with me, shit, Rom's grind is devastating. Yeah, watch some women hit me up privately. But you figure out what works, what moves work and don't. That's how you develop the confidence. Because then when you figure out what works and then you replicate it with somebody else, and it's like, oh, I know this shit work. See how easy that is? But here's the biggest issue. A lot of dudes want some quick shit instead of just getting out there and figuring out some trial and error. Because honestly, if y'all listen to, like, I don't give y'all a lot of step-by-step shit. I really don't. And I don't give a fuck. I let everybody else do that. In fact, what I've noticed with the people who follow me, just co-sign my shit. And I'm just confirming what they know. And I'm good with that. Because it ain't that difficult. I mean, it's like anything. You just got to get out there and do it ultimately. Right? Like most guys really, I'm going to tell you what, most guys, in fact, I would say, what I do, I can more refine somebody's shit, but I'm not the summer basketball camp coach. Take somebody from scratch. I don't have the patience really, because my logic is, okay, I've been kissing girls and dealing with girls on a sexual level since 10. How come you can't do that? And I ain't have internet or anything like that, or books or listening to some YouTube videos since 10 years old. Could have been earlier, because first time a little girl voluntarily showed me a vagina was I was 8. So, but I just trial and error. You figure out what worked, what didn't. I figured out how to get phone numbers, all of that. That's why, like, confidence. A lot of shit I developed before I graduated high school, because I just did the trial and error. I knew which one. I look right at a woman and say, all right, she gonna be receptive to me. She ain't. She gonna give me trouble. I'm gonna have to work a little bit for this one. And that's how you develop it. And then in the bedroom, you figure out which room, who gonna scream with what you do, who ain't. That's the game, yo. So anyway, sexual confidence. I done gave y'all some free ass game. Y'all need to bless a brother. So anyway, that's it for now, yo. Y'all might be getting a rant tomorrow though. Peace and blessings.